Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast that is now $1.5 billion richer. It is lost to the Midcard. Welcome to our second episode here in 2016, and we are just a couple weeks away from our first anniversary. Pretty cool stuff. Lots to talk about tonight as Matt opens a Steve Weiser. Oh, hell yeah!
What?
As always, we are brought to you by SpiderDuck.net, and thank you to SpiderDuck.net. We are able to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. Just search for Lost in the Midcard, subscribe to us, and catch yourself a new show every Thursday and every Monday after a WWE pay-per-view. We are also subscribable on YouTube, and you can find both of our links to subscribe on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. As always, my co-host, I am on the Twitter at JB Huskers. He is on the Twitter at RawFShowtime. Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing all right. It's nothing like last week. We had all that breaking news as we were sitting down to record. There was excitement and uncertainty in the air, and this week kind of just feels like a normal week.
Normal week, but the dust is still not settled on the big news of the week, obviously, from last week with the potential signings from New Japan Pro Wrestling, the major injury to John Cena. He's had successful surgery. We'll follow up on that also later on. But first, let's kick it off with a couple of guys that are familiar with the New Japan Pro Wrestling guys. Both Finn Balor and Kevin Owens did interviews this past week, and Balor actually did his comment on WWE.com and said on the potential signings. He said Balor said a year and a half ago, myself, Kevin Owens, and Hideo Itami all came in together. And there was a kind of a buzz that helped create a special time at NXT. I think potentially what is going on over the next couple months, if these four names come in, is going to be even bigger. I think the growth of NXT in the last year and a half and the growth of the Bullet Club has made this last year and a half since I left, be a huge coup for the WWE. Nakamura being one of the most charismatic wrestlers on the planet, and it's an absolute game changer unlike anyone that is out there now. Gallows and Machine Gun Anderson are one of the world's most established tag teams. Machine Gun, in my opinion, is the most underrated wrestler on the planet. For years, the fact that he's been getting so much media attention now makes me happy. But I'm slightly disappointed it's only happening now and didn't happen 10 years ago when I first had met him. AJ Styles' reputation speaks for itself. He's one of the best in-ring performers on the planet ever. To say this would be a coup is an understatement, and I think the next couple of months could change the way pro wrestling is viewed for the next 10 years. Matt, what are your thoughts on what Finn Balor has to say with a group of guys that he knows pretty well?
Well, there was no doubt that he was going to give high praise to the people he wants to come into the company. I mean, I really don't think he was saying anything that we didn't already know or anything that we didn't think he was going to say. So,
do you think it is as big as what Finn Balor is saying?
If they're used properly, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's all going to wait to be seen. We don't know if they're all coming. They're all coming to NXT? If they're half of them are going to the WWE and half of them are going to NXT. I mean, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I mean, we honestly still have more questions than answers on the whole New Japan 4 as they're being dubbed on the internet right now.
Yeah, I made the joke earlier this week that they're going to bring Luke Gallows in to be fake Kalisto. And if Kalisto's still champion at the Rumble, then fake Kalisto will come in, and it's going to be a ridiculously big guy. No, I'm kidding. We all know that ain't going to happen. Hopefully Gallows and Anderson get themselves...
Anybody who checked WWE.com knows Kalisto's no longer United States champion. So there you go.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Well, since
Thanks.
WWE spoiled it themselves, I feel it's fair game.
Oh, I know. I'm saying that towards them, not you.
As soon as I couldn't believe, it's one thing to be annoyed by that by some idiot retweeting stuff like that from the show, something as important as the title change. To me, it's even more annoying when WWE goes out there and announces that it happens.
Why do you think they did it? Do you think that they just needed? Did they think they needed another switch just to think anything can happen and milk this to the Rumble?
I wish I had a good answer for you. My answer to my friends last night was Vince McMahon found out that they put the title on Kalisto and demanded Hunter to put it back on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know.
Vince was so busy messing around with his own character and Roman Reigns, he had no idea that Triple H put the title on a midget. And demanded that the title get switched back the next night.
He was busy. Pimping his brand new shirts on WWE.
I would not be caught dead in one of those shirts.
Vince's mugshot shirt is now for sale, by the way.
I might have to punch some people in Dallas if I see anybody wearing that.
you know you're gonna.
Oh. Honestly, that is the most annoying shirt since the Team Johnny shirt from WrestleMania a couple of years back, and I believe that was in Miami.
People power.
Yeah, this is I think this is the most annoying shirt since that.
Yeah, my gut was Kalisto was going to obviously win on SmackDown, which obviously didn't happen, and then he was going to do his own open challenge at the Rumble, which could have led to maybe a Neville Kalisto match, which would have torn the house down. You know, maybe WWE somehow snuck Rey Mysterio in there, and we get an epic Mysterio Kalisto match. But,
I hear he's locked down with Lucha, man. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. I'm just saying. You know, I expected something great, but
I don't like the hot shot title swap like that. And I'm assuming they did it to try to pop a rating during the national championship. But as far as I'm concerned, the United States Championship has been treading water ever since Del Rio won it at Hell in a Cell. Yeah. And with every week Del Rio's held the title, what credibility John Cena has put on it over the last half of the year has meant less and less. So Del Rio getting the title right back, I think was one of the stupidest things they could have done. And I mean, unless this is leading to Kalisto getting it back again at the Rumble, I don't even know. It doesn't even make any sense to have. I mean, let's face it, the record books might declare it as a 3 or 4 day title reign, but he held it for 24 hours. I mean, Come on. Stuff like that shouldn't be happening. You know, just when the fans tell the WWE that they want more title changes, it's not that we don't want
hot potatoes.
Yeah, we don't want a title change just for you guys to try to pop a rating and then put it right back on the guy who had it the next night. That's not what we're looking for. I mean,
no.
I would have begrudgingly even accepted it if they would have just let Del Rio win it back at the Rumble. But to win it back the next night, I mean, you didn't even give it time to sink in that there was a title change.
And, if you don't notice, man, how insanely cut Alberto Del Rio is now compared to his past run in the WWE. That dude is ripped. It's insane. I don't hate Del Rio. I like Del Rio. It's a great character. It's a great heel. It's just not been booked to be exciting, unfortunately. But and a funny thing, League of Nations wasn't even mentioned. Rusev and Barrett weren't even on the show. But I guess later on we find out Rusev's got a minor injury, and of course we all know Barrett is still trying to recover from some procedures and stuff to get him right. But they didn't even mention the League of Nations, so I'm wondering if that's even out the window now. More talk for the New Japan 4. Kevin Owens was interviewed by Title Match Wrestling recently, and wanted to comment on a few different things. The only thing they really specifically talked about was Nakamura, as Owens and Nakamura have had their battles in Ring of Honor, And they asked Owens on the rumors of Nakamura coming to WWE. He says, if the rumors are true, Nakamura is probably the one I'm most excited about. I wrestled him once before I got to the WWE, and it was an awesome experience. I think he'd bring something different to the WWE, which I completely agree. And then also, he was asked on facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and this is what kind of got people talking ever since John Cena got hurt. This, with Owens possibly being the guy to face Undertaker at WrestleMania. He's been publicly saying it now, so we'll see if that's true. His words were, WrestleMania is synonymous with The Undertaker. Regardless of what happened with the streak, I still think it's The Undertaker show. I'd like to throw my name in the hat and see if he's still the phenom that he claims to be. We got a couple of injury updates. Actually, a lot of injury updates because, well, Matt, I think there's a couple injuries on the roster, don't you think?
No.
No?
No.
No injuries?
You're just making stuff up.
Everybody's healthy as a horse?
Oh, of course.
Was that a Mr. Ed joke?
It is now.
Okay. We got 4 updates for you. First off, Randy Orton. Hey, Matt. This is for the Meltzer marks out there. He was wrong.
Imagine that.
A little backstory. I got attacked by a bunch of Meltzer marks when I said the words that Dave Meltzer's wrong more than he's right. And all of a sudden, the Meltzer Oompa Loompa parade came out and tried to dogpile on me. But anyways, Randy Orton took to Instagram last Friday to state how things are with his health right now, noting he does not need neck surgery and that he had shoulder surgery last month. And this is what Randy Orton put on Instagram. I see many of you think I need neck surgery. I heard weeks ago that Meltzer stated it as a fact. I don't keep up with gossip, so I didn't think anything of it. As far as my shoulder, I was cut on 12/8, and things are ahead of schedule. I'm pumped to get back to work. As far as my neck, I'm only debunking this quote-unquote fact. For sincerely concerned fans, I don't need neck surgery. Remember, unless you hear it on WWE.com or Lost in the Midcard, you should really take everything you read online concerning pro wrestling with a grain of salt.
He didn't say that.
He did.
Don't put words in the Viper's mouth.
I'm reading it word for word.
That didn't happen.
He put us.
We love you, Randy. Don't get mad at us for JB trying to put us over like that.
You think he's ready by Mania?
That'd be stretch. I'd say him being ready by Mania would be a very big stretch. I don't think so.
Did he have the exact same thing Cena had?
That's what I heard.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I don't think so.
I was just wondering, just the way he was acting, but I mean, he's
excited to get back to work. He didn't say when.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
John Cena's injury update, and WWE.com posted an update. He had surgery this past Thursday, and a quote from the doctor regarding the severity of the injury: had a complete tear of the small portion of the rear rotator cuff tendon, the infraspinatus. Glad I'm sober there, trying to pronounce that word. Or, in layman's terms, towards the top back of his shoulder. And that was what Dr. Dugas repaired. Also, there was a large piece of loose tissue in his shoulder that needed to be removed. The physician noted that there was some deterioration in the AC joint, and the first hurdle is getting the cuts to heal, getting the cartilage to form over the defect. After that, we'll get back to function. And so, again, John Cena, while he's been a monster at recovery, we're probably looking at 6 months minimum, unless he can shock the world. But I don't know, man. What was it a neck injury where he came back at the Rumble to everybody's surprise? Was that a neck type of, like something that from a Batista match? Do you remember?
I do not remember what the injury was. Well, he ain't coming back anytime soon.
No.
Let's not talk about any Superman returns or anything like that because it's not happening.
No.
I mean, it's not even something worth entertaining. The idea.
No. I want to think it was something with his neck, like when he took a Batista bomb off the turnbuckle or something. It's something like that, I think. And obviously, boom, here he is, and they didn't even spoil it or anything, which was a great surprise in Royal Rumble history. Injury update: Sasha Banks has been out of action since the final Raw of 2015. PW Insider, Mike Johnson, was told that Banks suffered an MCL injury to one of her knees, is not expected back in the ring until sometime next month. So that is where Sasha Banks has been lately, and fortunately, it's not anything too serious, and hopefully in February she can get back. Do you think that we could still get a Sasha Banks Charlotte when she comes back and work that for WrestleMania?
I don't see why not. I mean, she's only going to be out till February. They got plenty of time to build it to Mania. It's almost a built-in storyline anyway if they touch back on their NXT history. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why they couldn't.
Yeah, God, I hope so, because they'll steal the show at Mania if they get the chance to. One final injury update. Paige has been gone from TV recently. Thankfully, it's not too serious. She suffered a mild concussion. She's just being held out as a precaution per WWE's orders. So if you wondered where Paige has been, she's just on the sidelines for a brief amount of time, but just a mild concussion. And she disclosed that with Scott Fishman on Channel Guide magazine. So hopefully we get Paige back in some capacity very, very soon. And the big news from SmackDown last week, a brand new play-by-play announcer, Mauro Ranallo, world-renowned combat sports, UFC, Strikeforce, MMA announcer, made his debut on SmackDown as SmackDown made their debut on their permanent home USA this past week. And Mauro basically said it felt good. Felt like I'm finally home here in the WWE. He noted that it has been 30 years in the making because he started calling matches as a teenager. And, of course, he mentioned on SmackDown that he had called Becky Lynch's matches about 10 years ago when she was just a wee lass. And Mauro added, since I was 5 years old, I wanted to work with the WWE as a commentator. And I thought he did a top-notch job, Matt. Were you able to catch SmackDown last week?
Yeah, he was excellent.
He called everything great. He obviously knew the business. He wasn't a Mike Adamle. He wasn't a Jeff Harvey. I loved how he threw in that he called matches in Canada for Becky Lynch when she was 18. And just it felt fresh. Is obviously the number one thing to say about it is it felt fresh. So very excited to watch SmackDown again tomorrow or if I catch it on Friday. But top-notch job by Mauro Ranallo. And I guess some people are thinking that now King's going to become a heel announcer again, Matt. I don't know if that's going to work again. I think that day had passed. But do you think King can still be effective as a heel announcer nowadays? Or
yes.
You like it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like he was the John Gruden of the WWE, where he likes everything. Everything's great,
I don't know. He definitely had some heel tendencies on SmackDown last week.
He did, and so hopefully that continues.
I didn't have any issue with it.
No. And also, one last note on Mauro Ranallo. Joey Styles took to Twitter, said, "It took 10 years, but my message was finally received." Mauro Ranallo was allowed to call moves and holds on SmackDown. Some fresh news off the grinder here from actually yesterday. New Japan, another guy has claimed that he is now a free agent. It is Bullet Club member Tama Tonga, who is the son of Haku. He's also in the Bullet Club. He was in the six-man tag match with Takahashi and Bad Luck Fale. And there was a report that he'd re-signed with New Japan, and he took to Twitter yesterday afternoon saying, "Sorry to bust, #free agent." Could this be another guy maybe coming over to NXT that's going to be kind of more of a quieter signing?
Yeah, I mean, if he comes in, he's going to come in as a package deal with everybody else. So if he comes in, he's going to come in as part of the Balor Club, Bullet Club, whatever they're going to choose to do with these guys. So yeah, it's definitely not a bad signing at all if they want to bring him in. He's got the family heritage there, and he's got the ties with the other people they want to bring in. It's definitely not a bad decision.
Do you like Bad Luck Fale? Do you think he's decent? I've only seen a little bit of him.
He's okay. I think he's the worst of the original Bullet Club members. So the fact that he's the one they didn't get signed really isn't that big of a deal, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And one of the steps needed to get Nakamura over to the WWE happened just recently, as Shinsuke Nakamura has been stripped of the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, and it has been announced he will have his final match for New Japan Pro Wrestling January 30th at a Korakuen Hall. A new IC champion will be decided on February 14th at the New Beginning in Niigata, where Kenny Omega is going to take on an unnamed opponent. So obviously Nakamura not in the cards for the Royal Rumble. So hopefully sooner than later, though. An update on a Ring of Honor star that has gotten an injury, as you know, at the Final Battle pay-per-view. Matt Taven tore his ACL and underwent a 4.5-hour surgery, according to Ring of Honor, to repair that ruptured lateral meniscus and torn medial meniscus. And the initial diagnosis is that Taven will be out for around 9 months, which puts it at about an October 2016 return. Hopefully he can have a speedy and well recovery, and then be very interesting to see what happens when he comes back to Ring of Honor, because the landscape is already different with no Mike Bennett, no Maria Kanellis. So we'll see where he is in the coming year end. Impact Wrestling's viewership for their second week on Pop TV, and good news for Impact, it increased by 33,000 viewers to draw a total of 288,000 for the Tuesday night show. And this is for the first viewing on Pop TV, according to ShowBuzzDaily.com. And so, hey, Matt, it's good news. It's an increase, and it was noted that Destination America, they averaged around, or the top number was 269, so they've already passed that in week 2. So that's definitely got to be good news for Impact Wrestling, don't you think?
Every little bit helps, as far as I'm concerned. So Let's wait and see where it goes.
We'll talk Impact Wrestling later on. We got some spoiler news. We won't spoil it for you, but we may talk in code. For those that know the spoiler, you can understand what we're saying. And for those that don't, just enjoy our soothing voices, I guess. We go from TNA's rating to the Raw rating, and just a slight dip in the Raw rating, considering the NCAA football national title game was going on that night. Raw rating dipped to 3.23 million, which is down about 250,000 from the last week. It peaked in the first hour, and the low point was the second hour, so they did get some people back for the final hour. As always, we've been patiently waiting for the return of Daniel Bryan, and with the state of the WWE now, they need him more than ever. But apparently somebody had started a rumor, we have no idea who, but
a troll.
A troll. Mike Johnson from PW Insider stated that over the last 12 hours, we received a number of emails asking about a rumor that's making the rounds that WWE is in the process of releasing Daniel Bryan, and the release would be officially announced on Monday. Well, there's absolutely jack shit to that rumor. Bryan is not in the process of being released. Mike Johnson notes that he is in great standing with the company. While he's not yet been cleared to return to the ring, he's obviously been seen in all the promotion for Total Divas, which the new season comes next week. So Matt, just basically some nobody, and it caught fire.
It was a fake of a fake email was sent out to somebody who claimed to be a member of WWE's Human Resources Department. The fact that that story got any traction to begin with is ridiculous.
And one final, we got a couple final pieces of headlines here. More of another update for Shinsuke Nakamura. He will be coming to the United States for several weeks early February to spend time at the Performance Center. And PW Insider has confirmed this with a source in Japan. According to the source, Nakamura will be training at the Performance Center and undergo medical testing. And if he passes that, he'll be cleared to sign with the WWE. Matt, would it be safe to say we could maybe expect him in his debut match at TakeOver Dallas?
Or WrestleMania itself, we don't know.
You think he might go main roster?
We have no idea, dude. This is all speculation at this point. We have no idea.
How big of a name is he with wrestling fans in the United States?
Depends on what fan base you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man. I really don't.
If they debut him on the main roster and skip NXT, well, even if with NXT, they need... I don't know. I mean, they need to show a lot of stuff to get the people up to speed with who he is, and who he's fought. You could mention Brock Lesnar. I actually watched that match on Daily Motion. I found a link to their match in, I think, 2006 with Brock Lesnar, and it was about a 10-minute match, but it was pretty awesome. So they definitely need to educate on who he is and the fact that he is just one of the most unique and charismatic guys to come to the WWE in some time. And while we don't really haven't really followed the legal proceedings for ex-WWE diva Sunny or Tammy Sitch, we don't really care. But some interesting stuff from TMZ. TMZ has learned that Tammy is giving fans a chance to get a piece of her old alter ego Sunny by hawking her famous Hall of Fame ring. She got the ring in the 2011 induction ceremony, but she says she's ready to turn the page on her pro wrestling days, and she's unloading the ring on eBay with an opening bid of $3,000. And Matt, in the bullshit category, Sitch says the sale has nothing to do with her legal troubles last year. She's just wiping the slate clean.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck.
Oh, bullshit.
Just go away. I don't even want to acknowledge her and give her any more publicity than she already has. Her life is a wreck. She needs to get herself back on track, and that's all it is. It's sad. It's sad. It's not even something I can make fun of. It's beyond pathetic, and she needs help. And until she reaches out and gets that help, it's not going to get any better.
No. NXT is back after the holiday layoff, and we kick it off right with Sami Zayn returning to Full Sail. Loud Ole chants for Zayn, and he says that he is one of the cornerstones of NXT. Having his return match in London was great, but he's finally happy to be home at Full Sail. He wants to put everyone on notice that his goal is to become the first ever two-time NXT champion. And once he said that, well, cue an angry Samoan by the name of Samoa Joe, who thinks that, well, Zayn should just go to the back of the line, and Joe wants another shot at Finn Balor. Then comes Baron Corbin out to the ramp. He says he agrees with Joe that Zayn should be at the end of the line. Joe had his shot and failed, while Corbin won his match at TakeOver, and he refers to himself as the uncrowned NXT champion. And then that leads to a little bit of a fracas. Corbin attacks Zayn from behind, but Zayn Haluva kicks him over the top rope, and Joe tried to sneak in one on Zayn, but Zayn was ready. And a little bit of a stare down. That doesn't smell like triple threat, does it, Matt?
Nope.
Not at all. They interviewed Bayley backstage, and Bayley noted that she barely survived her battle with Nia Jax. She's happy to be the women's champion, and depending on who wins the Battle Royal for number one contender, which is the main event, she may just give them a hug. I should have thought about that, Matt. I should have thought about that foreshadowing.
But you didn't.
I made my prediction that Eva Marie was going to win it.
Oops.
NXT, yeah, oops. I was almost right. I thought I was right. The year-end NXT Awards, their first ever NXT Awards for year-end, where the fans voted. And the results came in. Tag Team of the Year, Enzo and Cass. I believe we agreed on that, correct?
Yep.
Female Competitor of the Year was Bayley. I believe we took Sasha Banks there. Male Competitor of the Year, we agreed on Finn Balor. Takeover of the Year, we agree on Brooklyn. Match of the Year, we agreed Bayley against Banks. Overall Competitor of the Year, I believe we both had Sasha, right?
Yep.
Yep, but Finn Balor gets Overall Competitor of the Year, and deservedly so, not too bad. But I think Sasha Banks definitely had that killer year to where she's going to be propelled at WrestleMania right off the bat. Hopefully, if we get our say. Tommaso Ciampa against Danny Burch to kick off the first match for NXT, and not a bad little match. Not a complete squash job. Some heavy hitting between both fellas. Danny Burch looks like he's been in a few English bar fights in his day. But with a sweet modified armbar by Ciampa, he gets the W there. Do you have any idea on like the status of Gargano? We haven't seen him in quite a while.
They both worked the NXT tapings.
Oh, did they? Okay. Do you think they're better off at this point as a tag team or off on their own?
Off on their own.
Think so?
Yeah.
It is a deep tag team division. And speaking of tag teams, the next match. Well, before we get to that, William Regal says, we got a promo for Enzo and Cass once again. Not too happy with Dash and Dawson. They call up the NXT champs and say they have unfinished business. William Regal in his office says that, well, the obvious after what we saw in the Open, we're going to have a number one contender for the NXT championship, and in 2 weeks, a triple threat match between Joe Corbin and Zayn is going to go down. Did you already read who's going to win this?
Yeah, I read the spoilers already. So
okay.
Stop asking me questions because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Okay. I will. I have not read the spoilers. I'm going to go on to think Corbin wins this one. Dash and Dawson take on the Ascension, and, well, Matt, looks like the Ascension are now the jobbers of NXT after being the longest reigning tag team of NXT.
Well, there's jobbers everywhere. What do you think it was any different?
I know. Well, they were dominant in NXT at one point.
You can't bring them back down to NXT after jobbing on the main roster for the last year and then have them start going over your up-and-coming talent. Mm-hmm. It's not smart. You can't do that. So they're going to come down there. They got to make the new guys look good. That's got to be their purpose for now until they can figure out what the heck they're going to do with them.
You have any idea what can make them click?
I don't have a clue.
I thought they were going to be big. You know, I wrote an article saying
I was never big on them in NXT, so it did not surprise me that they flopped on the main roster.
Backstage, Nia Jax is attended to by a doctor, and the doctor says that Nia is not cleared to compete in the Battle Royal tonight. That made a lot of women sigh in that ring. Or sigh of relief, that is. Let me finish that out. And Eva Marie with some bad acting in the background, acting all excited. I thought that was kind of stupid, but then later on when Nia's actually paying attention to Eva says everything will be okay. She's got it. And so, yeah. A guy I like and a guy Matt hates, Elias Sampson, the Drifter, takes on Corey Hollis in a fairly short match with Elias Sampson going over.
He can drift his way out of the NXT roster as far as I'm concerned.
Number one contenders Battle Royal is the main event, and all throughout the night, each of the women cut a promo, which I liked personally. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was old school.
Yeah, and you get to see women like Billie Kay, Deonna Purrazzo, and what's Liv's last name? I know her as the Jersey girl. Yeah, Liv Morgan. And so some girls you don't really hear from a lot. And the match starts off as Asuka's the last one to come out. Everybody turns their focus to her. And Eva gets in her face and eats a foot. And everybody's scared of Asuka, but Emma's not too scared. She's faced her before. So she goes at Asuka, and that starts off everybody else going at each other in this Battle Royal match. A girl that those that have watched Breaking Ground, Aaliyah, she made her debut in NXT. And what a way to debut as Cameron throws you out. That's sad.
Girl, bye.
So Aaliyah is the first one to go. Cameron also eliminates Deonna Purrazzo. Oh my, is Cameron going to win the whole thing? No. Liv Morgan almost powerbombs Cameron over the top rope, but they both get knocked out and by Alexa Bliss. And then Carmella is tossed under the top rope, so she's still in. Remember that, kids. Emma sets Bliss up on the top rope and gets dumped over by Emma. And then our favorite girls, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, take turns beating up Emma in the corner. It's a good old-fashioned Australian beatdown. And Asuka kicks Emma in the head, and she goes outside. So it's now down to our ladies. How about that, Matt? Our ladies had a good showing in this Rumble here. Billie Kay, yeah, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce tried to get Asuka out, but Asuka hits the flying ass to knock them both out of the ring. We all think Asuka's won, but no. Eva Marie comes out of nowhere. So she basically was just hiding ever since she got a foot in her mouth, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Because I couldn't remember her ever getting eliminated, and then I thought again, I don't remember her ever being in this match. She throws out Asuka, and so now she's celebrating, but no. Carmella comes out, because she was thrown under the ropes. She throws Eva over the top rope, and your new number one contender is Carmella, which is real-life best friends with Bayley. So obviously Bayley comes and hugs Carmella at the end. And were you surprised with Carmella getting the number one contendership here?
Yeah, I definitely felt it came out of nowhere, and I still don't understand why. I'm
assuming this is probably gonna be a thing to fill the time until we start putting our sights on TakeOver Dallas. Is just my gut. Where I don't know. Do you think it'd be Asuka, or do you think there's going to be multiple women involved in the title match at Dallas?
Smart money's on Asuka, but I don't know.
Part of me wants to think like a fatal four-way, maybe Nia Jax, maybe Asuka, maybe Dana Brooke, something like that. Maybe Eva Marie. Where Eva Marie and Nia Jax kind of tease working together, and then all of a sudden it breaks down. Maybe something like that. But good to see NXT come back and in full swing for 2016. Smackdown from last week. We kick it off with a John Cena Alberto Del Rio segment that means nothing because, well, John Cena's gone. But he does set up a Kalisto Alberto Del Rio match, which ends in Alberto Del Rio getting upset by Kalisto. And then after that, we got ourselves a Miz TV segment with special guests The New Day, Dolph Ziggler, Goldust, Neville, and R-Truth. And R-Truth says he's there to accept Alberto Del Rio's U.S. Open challenge. No, R-Truth. Go back in the corner with little Jimmy.
It's not funny anymore. It's run it. They've run the gimmick into the ground. It's just enough.
Bring back little Jimmy. Hashtag bring back little Jimmy.
R-Truth needs a reboot, period. But to what that would help him, I have no idea.
I would love to see him have something meaningful, but yeah, this ain't the ticket. This is, yeah, you know, it's good for a chuckle, but, you know, we need you need something more. And R-Truth could give you more. I mean, obviously, he was in the main event picture not that long ago with him and The Miz. So, this led to a 6-man tag match with Ziggler, Truth, and Goldust and Neville against Miz and the New Day. And the good guys got the win there. This is kind of basically this whole thing with all these guys is a prelude to the Rumble. And after the match, Ziggler super kicked R-Truth and threw Goldust to the outside to remind everybody we can all be friends and such, but now is not the time because the Royal Rumble is about yourself. For the Divas Championship, Charlotte against Becky Lynch, and I thought this was a damn good match on SmackDown. And I think it was even enhanced with Mauro's call. It gave it a big fight feel, and the ladies did good. And obviously, you know, SmackDown, they do tend to give people more time to develop a better match. So I was pretty happy with the outcome there. But in the end, Charlotte ends up having to tap out, but her foot's on the bottom rope after while she's in the disarmer. As Lynch is arguing with the referee, Charlotte rolls her up from behind and gets the victory. So I wasn't happy with the way it ended because we see too many matches end in a roll-up, but still these ladies put on a good show. Then Kevin Owens was interviewed by Renee Young, and Owens is asked if he is ready for his Intercontinental Championship match with Dean Ambrose after being put through a table on last Monday's Raw. And Owens says he's a world-class athlete. He'll be fine. He says he's going to get his title back tonight. And then Renee Young interviews her boyfriend, Dean Ambrose, and Ambrose says that Owens has beaten him down and hit him in places he didn't even know he had places. Owens says he's a prize fighter, but tonight, well, this title is the prize, so let's go fight Owens fight. That leads us to our main event, which is Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship. And this has been probably my favorite feud on the roster right now. A great match between the guys that obviously we're continuing the feud probably all the way to the Royal Rumble. Well, now we got some news on that. This one ended out in a double countout, and so Intercontinental Champion is still Dean Ambrose. And Matt, we got news just today, I believe from WWE.com, that their match at the Royal Rumble for the Intercontinental Championship is a last man standing match. So pretty excited for that one. Are you enjoying this feud at all?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are always going to put on good matches together, and last man standing match should be fun. But I mean, at that point, this should be the end of the feud, and you know, they need to figure out what they're doing with each of these guys on the road to WrestleMania afterwards. Yeah.
Hopefully it involves Owens and Undertaker or Owens and Sami Zayn. Are you, with Zayn being in the number one contenders match, do you still think that the timetable is set for him to leave NXT, or do you think he sticks around a little while longer? Especially after making the proclamation that he wants to be the first ever 2-time NXT champion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he needs to be called up. I don't think he needs to be in NXT anymore.
Well, he's been more than ready for a long time.
Yeah, I think they're wasting his time down there. But I mean, if they're not gonna bring him up to the main roster and treat him right, they might as well keep him in NXT. So you don't freaking know.
We kick off Raw with everybody on the stage. And hey, Matt, there's some new Social Outcast shirts you want to get from WWEshop.com.
Nope.
No? Not a fan?
I'll have to get a shirt.
Yeah. Vince and Steph come make their way to the ring, and he says that tonight somebody is going to make history, and Stephanie says Roman defending the title in the Rumble is making history. And it all starts with throwing Roman Reigns over the top rope. Vince pointed out Dolph Ziggler saying that he's been there for 10 long years and can't find the brass ring. Gee, Vince, whose fault is that?
I don't even want to touch that one.
Yeah, that was a little uncomfortable, wasn't it?
That whole opening promo was uncomfortable. I thought it was the worst Vince has been on the microphone since he's been back on TV. I thought it came off really rough, and it did not go over well at all.
Stephanie pointed out how Owens is done so much in so little time, and saying if he wins the Rumble, it could be the best first year in history. I think Kurt Angle would have something to say about that, though. Or maybe Brock Lesnar. Who do you think has had the best first year in WWE history? I want to say Angle, but I don't know. Brock was pretty damn good,
Brock
too.
Or Angle, probably.
Yeah. Vince said it could be a new day. And, whoa, would you enjoy it just for a big surprise that Big E wins the Royal Rumble? Would you enjoy a new day main event at WrestleMania?
It's never going to happen.
Would you enjoy it, though?
I definitely found it to be odd that Vince pretty much exposed that he probably doesn't even watch his own product when he did the Hallelujah gimmick with the New Day, because that's the gimmick they came in with over a year ago and hadn't done it, and I couldn't even tell you how long.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even think Vince McMahon knows a damn thing about half the people on his own roster right now.
Vince was booty.
Yeah, Vince is booty.
And then the Wyatts showed up, and Bray repeats what he said for quite some time. Anyone but you, Roman, anyone but you. And Vince says, that's right, pal, because that includes Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns hits the ring and tells Vince, well, what happens if I win? Stephanie laughs like her corny self can. And Vince sets up a 1 versus all match tonight. He says it's going to be Roman Reigns against, well, maybe everybody on that stage, or maybe a half of them, or a third of them. Who knows? But Reigns is in for a long night. And then they mentioned Dean Ambrose, and she said it could even be against him. But no, Dean's in the first match. Sheamus attacks him from behind, and we get ourselves our first match to kick off the night, Sheamus and Dean Ambrose. And like Matt said, a little shaky start to Raw. Again, the Authority, a long segment to kick off Raw, and it just didn't work, did it?
No, not really.
The first match of the night, Sheamus, Dean Ambrose, not for the title, but these guys, I thought this was a great match. I think I've been saying this all along. I think Sheamus, ever since he's been thrust into to winning the title over Roman Reigns, cashing in the Money in the Bank, I think Sheamus has done a phenomenal job in the ring, and I thought the match with him and Ambrose was pretty damn good. Obviously, these two guys love to brawl and fight, so these guys, I think, meshed well in the ring. Do you agree, Matt?
Yeah, it was good stuff, man. I had no complaints.
Double count out, and then continuing the feud, Owens with another cheap shot on Dean Ambrose, and Sheamus with a nasty cut on his forehead. Did he not protect himself going into the steel steps, or did I miss something, or what?
I think he got busted open the hard way on the post.
Oh, he had a crimson mask going there, man. That thing, let me quote JR, bleeding like a stuck pig. Oh, and going to TNA, Matt, speaking of quoting JR, fucking Pope ripped off JR, one of JR's lines tonight. I just shook my head. Or last night.
I don't want to talk about TNA.
Oh, we're going to. Trust me. We'll run through it quickly. They show Bourbon Street as they're in New Orleans this week, and Ambrose walks out of the training room, and Renee Young was out there waiting to ask him some questions, and he said, they wanted to check on him. He says, well, feel his pulse. It means he's alive. Well, he's still ready to fight. And I kind of like that out of Dean Ambrose. Vince and Steph walking backstage when our Lord and Savior Paul Heyman comes in. And you know Paul Heyman's an important guy, Matt, because he's got 2 phones in his hand. Do you like the fact they're sitting here talking how Heyman wants Lesnar in the main event at WrestleMania to take on the winner of the Royal Rumble? Do you like the fact that they didn't bully their way into the Rumble match and are actually saying, we don't want to be in this match? Do you kind of like that angle?
It's fine. I didn't really like. Honestly, I didn't really like the whole reverse thing because they were almost blatantly teasing that. Like, my original plan was Brock to win the Rumble and go to face Reigns at Mania.
Yeah.
So with Brock not being in the Rumble and then the winner of the Rumble goes face Brock at WrestleMania, they were basically doing the reverse of what I said anyway.
Reigns will win.
Yeah, Reigns win, and he goes and fights Brock. I was just like, whatever. Yeah, I honestly, I wasn't really feeling it at all. I mean, Brock, they say Brock's a prize fighter, and Brock wants to be in all the stuff that makes history, so it didn't make any sense where he wouldn't want to be in the first Royal Rumble where the WWE Championship was defended. So I didn't like it, but whatever.
Has he ever been in a Rumble?
Yeah. Pretty sure he won a Rumble.
Did he win a Rumble?
Pretty sure he won the Rumble when he went to face Kurt Angle for the title in Seattle.
I don't remember that for some reason. I do remember. Brock doesn't remember winning the title either.
Well, would you?
No.
You probably wouldn't have been alive after that. We would have landed on our necks like that. We would have been dead.
Yeah. Good night. Once again, we get Titus O'Neil and Stardust, but something real cool from Stardust doing a David Bowie tribute to Ziggy Stardust. So I thought that was pretty cool. Quick little match. Titus O'Neil gets over. We're like, wow, well, why are we doing this? And then again, it's continuing apparently because Stardust attacks Titus O'Neil at the end of the match. So I'm not sure where this is going. I think they just need to bring Cody back. I know that much. Highlight reel: Chris Jericho and New Day. I was expecting something good, but I don't know. I came away with it being kind of
awful.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I figured these guys would have great promos together, but they just don't.
Cool Dad Chris Jericho is not cool Chris Jericho.
And so they basically, the New Day again put over that they should have been the tag team of the year. And yeah, we agree. That brought the Usos come out, and then that led to the Usos with Jericho in their corner against Big E and Kofi, with Xavier Woods in the corner. And once again, Xavier Woods. Brilliant. Pretty good match here, though, between the Usos and New Day, but that's no surprise. These guys have had their share of matches. Jericho breaks the trombone over Xavier Woods' knee, and Woods is crying. I don't get that, Matt, because this ain't the first time his trombone's been broken.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I mean, the Dudleys broke it, and he brought another one back.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they just like officially wrote the trombone off TV there. If they did, I think that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I said, I wasn't feeling the entire segment, interview and match. So. And
then I thought it was dumb that Kofi's looking on like, and then he gets rolled up. You know. They show some pictures from John Cena's shoulder surgery. And Cole says he'll be out a number of months. No shit. And JBL is in there. Actually, Stephanie and Paul Heyman in the office alone as Vince is dropping to Kevin Dunn or something. We don't know. And Heyman is still trying to weasel his way into having Brock be at WrestleMania anyways as the main event. But Stephanie says, well, Brock has a contract, and he has to honor that contract. He will compete in the Royal Rumble, and Heyman, don't ever stand that close to me again. And Heyman's finally resigned to the fact that Lesnar has to go into the Rumble, says he'll go handle this. JBL in the ring to announce the first member of the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2016. No surprise, none other than the Stinger. And we see a pretty cool video package, but it's missing some TNA stuff there, Matt.
No, it's not.
But and they show LeBron James had a reaction to it and whatnot. But Mike Johnson at PW Insider is fully suspects that Ric Flair will induct him into the Hall of Fame, and that'll be great, I think.
Makes sense.
Yep. Wyatt family makes their entrance, and as there's a tables match on Smackdown coming up this week against the Dudleys, and I don't know why we have that, but we do. And the Wyatt family is about ready to talk when the Social Outcast music hits. Wow. And they all talk tough and actually tried to bring the fight to the Wyatt family, as is a 4-on-4 match. But Braun Strowman pretty much handled everybody. And then Ryback all of a sudden runs into the ring for whatever reason. Basically, I guess this is more guys in the Rumble and something for them to do until we get to the Rumble, I guess, Matt?
Yes.
Now, I fully expected the Social Outcasts to not be heels here. I figured they'd be faces. What do you think of them so far? I like Slater, and I like Axel. Dallas should be doing something more than this. And Adam Rose.
As I said when they first formed this group, I wish it would have been Sandow over Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So, what can you do?
See where it lands. See where it happens, but, you know. Heath Slater's getting on TV, so how about that?
Yeah.
United States Championship, and this is by far match of the night, which I don't think there was many things to go up against it. Maybe the tag match between the Usos and the New Day, but I thought Del Rio and Kalisto did a great job in the ring. Like I said, the first time they ever fought was in that WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, and that was a real slot fest. But they've been putting it together ever since. And how about that, Matt? Kalisto gets the United States Championship. Were you surprised? Just don't think about SmackDown tapings this week.
I was excited for less than 24 hours.
Yeah. So what did you think at the end of this match on Monday night?
I didn't think they were going to. I didn't think that they were going to change the title, so I was surprised. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Yeah, WWE changing things up, making television interesting, and then 24 hours later they shit the bed. Mm-hmm. So.
And Kalisto had a great promo on Raw too. So they're giving the man a chance, but I don't know where this is going. Hopefully it gets sorted out at the Royal Rumble and it's the right choice. But I just don't see it either. Why the hell Kalisto? Like you said, less than 24 hours later, because SmackDown's taped on Tuesdays.
I would have been okay with it if they wanted to put the title back on Del Rio so bad, even though I would think it would be the wrong decision, I would have been more okay with it had they waited until the Rumble to do it. But to do it the very next show, I thought it minimized the impact of the title change, and I think it really hurts Kalisto overall as a character by doing so. So, whoop, there it is.
Well, we get a Divas segment, but we don't even get a Divas match as Charlotte is coming to the ring. Becky Lynch attacks her. And Flair says, well, Charlotte ain't competing tonight. And then looks at Charles Robinson and says, what are you going to do about it, fat boy? And so that was your Divas segment for the night. How about that, Matt?
It was something.
But afterwards, Becky Lynch with her best promo to date. Great promo, I thought, with JoJo. And then we get to the 1 versus all match. And the heels that face Roman Reigns: Sheamus, Del Rio, Owens, the Wyatt family, New Day, Ascension, Tyler Breeze, and Stardust. And 5 minutes into this match, I could tell this was just going to be a Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns match, right?
Pretty much, which honestly I was happy with.
And they did a good job.
When they started out with Owens, I'm like, really? Are you just going to job him out in 2 minutes?
That's what I thought,
someone else in? So the fact that the match actually was pretty much a full-length Raw match, and then they sent everybody else in, and they protected Owens from doing the job to Roman. I thought that was smart booking. So
and Owens looked good.
Yeah.
And that gives me hope that either maybe he's a surprise Rumble winner, or he faces Taker. One of the two.
There's plenty of directions they can go with him for Mania that would be good and make sense. It just all depends on what they decide that they want to do.
And something as easy that even Dixie Carter could have predicted that it happened. Everybody comes into the ring to beat up on Roman Reigns. And then Brock Lesnar's music hits. And, of course, he teases a stare down like he's going to eat Roman Reigns for lunch. But no, that he beats up all the bad guys, tosses them all out. But then, hey, he says, well, it's the Royal Rumble. I'm in it. Fuck you. I only care about me. Gives an F5 to Roman Reigns. And I love the little I'm hurt as fuck, but I got a little smile for you from Roman Reigns. I thought that was kind of good.
I'm indifferent on that because, honestly, I didn't like it. I didn't like it when he did it in San Jose.
I thought he should have laid out.
Laughing and chuckling at Brock's offense, and I didn't really care for it on Raw either.
I think he should have.
No, it's just something about it. Something about the smiling chuckle after getting beat up by Brock Lesnar annoys me for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just does.
I thought it was a pretty good Raw compared to most of the Raws that ended the year. But once I was kind of covering it here on the podcast, I kind of soured on it a little more. And of course, Matt brought me down when I said it was a good Raw too. He's like, "No, it wasn't." But of course,
it wasn't awful, but it wasn't. It wasn't a great show. It was okay.
And of course, the events the next night dampened a great moment on Raw too.
Yeah, so. Exactly. That doesn't work.
Impact Wrestling's second episode on Pop. We'll cover this real quick. Jeff Hardy. I thought Jeff Hardy and EC3 had a pretty good in-ring promo. EC3 says that Jeff Hardy has to go to the back of the line. Didn't we hear that earlier on NXT? I'm sure
everybody's got to go to the back of the line, brother.
There's a back of the line in every company apparently. They bring out a black guy named Shinron, I think, and he's kind of dressed like a luchador, and he's there to take on Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy disposed of him pretty easily. The Beautiful People and the Dollhouse had a segment which led into a brawl backstage, which then led into the street fight between the Beautiful People and the Dollhouse. And why the hell do they want a street fight when there's only two of them and four of the Dollhouse?
Why the hell would you pick a fight with them backstage when there's four of them and two of you in the first place?
Exactly.
Dude, there's so much about TNA that makes me angry. I don't even like talking about it because it just makes me so mad. That company, dude.
I'm giving it another chance, though, at least. What'd you think of the beer money bash? Did you like that promo between the two guys?
My issue with it is, to me, and I don't know if you saw it, but I certainly did. It seemed like they were trying so hard to be New Age DX.
How so?
I'm talking like 2006, 2007 DX. You know, when it was just Triple H and Shawn, and they were going with the Spirit Club,
yeah.
or Spirit Squad, or whatever they were called. That's what it reminded me of.
How so? Or like what reminded what?
Just the over the top corny jokes and the way they were playing off of each other and trying to be cool, and it really screamed like we're trying to be a second rate DX, which sucks because I loved the original Beer Money, but if this is the Beer Money we're going to be getting going forward, not too excited about it.
EY and Bram came out to interrupt, and
speaking of some people that need to go away.
And that all ended up in Eric Young challenging Rude for his King of the Mountain championship, which, thanks to the help of Bram and distracted the referee, which got Eric Young to kick Rude in the ding-ding. And so your new King of the Mountain champion is Eric Young. Is this basically their Intercontinental title now?
I guess.
Is that what that is?
And I mean, I get why they did it. Because, if Beer Money's going to be back as a tag team, Rude doesn't need to have singles gold.
No.
But I could have thought of a dozen I could have thought of a dozen other people that would have been more deserving to win that championship than Eric Young.
That's what broke him up in the first place, right? Was fighting over the world title.
Yep.
Putting outside of the ring shit aside with Bram, I think Bram and Eric Young together could be something decent. I know you don't like EY. I like EY. You don't. But I think those two together is interesting, even though Bram's a piece of shit. But yeah. And we get a segment with Mike Bennett and Ethan Carter III. I thought it was okay, decent, nothing too special. It almost seemed like Bennett was kissing his ass, but then at the same time saying, I'm going to take it from you. And then we get a segment with Mr. Anderson that was completely ridiculous. It was terrible. Matt, we weren't on air when you told me about that, right? Matt had told me that this segment was so bad that it might get cut from television.
Yeah, I don't think we were on the air. And honestly, after seeing it, it was even worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, a new segment called Huh? And, of course, the TNA crowd ate that up. And his guests were
fucking garbage.
Yeah, his guests were Matt Hardy and Rebby Sky, and I don't know. It was like a ripoff of Miz TV where Mr. Anderson's asking the tough questions, and it was terrible. The music was terrible, whatever fucking slow jazz that was coming to the ring. And Matt warned me, and he was right. The very gorgeous Christy Hemme is in the crowd, which is Drew Galloway's second home, apparently. And Drew Galloway talks about how he idolized Kurt Angle, and it's going to be an honor for them to go at it in the main event tonight. Then we get a match between the Wolves and Tigre Uno against DJZ, Eli Drake, and Jesse Goddard. Basically, this was so funny. This basically, the way TNA led up to it was, next up is a championship showcase. So basically saying these three guys are jobbers. Well, Matt will agree, because I haven't really watched the product as much, but I'm assuming DJZ, Jesse Goddard, and Eli Drake are jobbers.
Ain't important.
So obviously the good guys go over there. And Jeff finds Matt backstage and says he can do this with EC3. Matt says he knows everyone believes in him. That's why he's going to give EC3 an offer that he cannot refuse. And then Rebby comes in and tells Matt that she needs to talk to him. So that's where we get our EC3 Matt Hardy segment, where Matt Hardy says career versus title. And EC3 agrees to it. It's going to be a last man standing match.
A lot of those going around lately.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to spoil it for you, but we're going to talk about the results of this. And so those who know the results will know what we're talking about. If you don't, just chill out for a minute. So basically, the way this played out with the double, you know what I mean? Is it more of
It's more of TNA proving why they shouldn't be a wrestling company in 2016.
It didn't make sense on paper.
Doesn't make sense, period.
Oh.
It's garbage.
Is it a kind of without spoiling it, is it kind of a selfish thing? Kind of a family, kind of like a Kevin Owens type of thing?
I don't care what the reasoning they have behind the idea is. It was garbage. And it's just that simple. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it next week when it happens. Honestly, if we never discuss TNA on this show again, I don't care. They've fallen so far down my give a shit meter that I don't care. I don't care if we ever talk about TNA on the show again. I'm tired of giving this company chance after chance after chance, and for them to continue to prove that they don't give a damn, and they're going to continue to do things their way, and they're going to continue to put on an inferior WWE light type product, and I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of TNA. I'm tired of their creative team, and I'm tired of them being a viable wrestling option in 2016. Because as far as I'm concerned, I hope they don't last a year. I'm tired of pulling for TNA. They've ran out of chances with me, and that's all I have to say about that.
Well, one last thing. Did you enjoy Angle and Galloway?
It's fine, but I mean, did you expect anything else? One good wrestling match on a 2-hour show isn't going to make me like your show any better.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else in the show worth mentioning.
Next up, we'll talk about Ring of Honor from this past weekend. And we kick it off. They're still in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Roppongi Vice taking on the All Night Express. And has there been any more out on Rocky Romero, Matt? Have you heard?
Yeah, he re-signed with New Japan.
Oh, he did? So he's still basically still in the same boat he is now, then, right? Not going, but there was rumors that he was going to the WWE. So yeah, I hadn't heard.
He re-signed with New Japan. He's not going anywhere.
All right. Pretty decent tag match here, I'd say. But to nobody's surprise, All Night Express wins as they are the number one contenders for those tag titles.
Yep.
The Kingdom comes out. Matt Taven's on crutches. Michael Bennett is in TNA already, so he's just there to not be fined. And they call out. Cole calls out Taven and Bennett for losing to War Machine at Final Battle. So basically, I think to me this kind of is like a clean. This is their way of doing a kind of a clean break of the Kingdom, and Cole's going to go off on his own. Is that kind of how you see it?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Well, there's nobody left from the Kingdom now because Taven's out for 9 months. Yep. But yeah, this is kind of the way to break it out. Kyle O'Reilly comes out and gets blocked by security because obviously he wants a piece of Adam Cole. And then Bobby Fish talks about a reinvent in the tag team division, wants to get those tag titles back home. Asks Nigel McGuinness to challenge the Kingdom for a match, and he grants the match for the next week. But then the Young Bucks come out, and they win it on the match. So yes, we're going to get a triple threat match. And next week, where it's going to be a street fight, a Philadelphia street fight with Bennett and Cole. So I assume they will completely break that off after losing that match, I'm assuming. So, speaking of breaks, War Machine took on the tag team champions. War Machine took on the House of Truth, and we got a new name for Baby Tista now.
Yeah, I can't even remember what they were calling him.
Something Daddy George, Nick Papa Giorgio.
Yeah,
I think that's
something like that.
War Machine kills the House of Truth because they haven't done shit. And but the big thing out of this, Truth Martini slid in the book of Truth for Dijak to use, and Dijak kicked it away. And then after the match, Truth Martini calls Dijak the weak link of the group and slaps him in the face. And then Diesel applies a choke, and then Dijak powers out and hits a Burning Hammer knee strike. So there you go. And so Dijak has now turned face. Prince Nana comes out applauding because he's one of those guys with an envelope. So what do you think of the turn here? Do you think this will maybe elevate him a little bit?
I mean, that's obviously the direction they're going. They're looking to push the guy, so we'll see where it goes.
I mean, he was obviously he won the prospect tournament, and so we'll see. This will probably be his ultimate testing to see what he can do. Great four-corner elimination match to end the night between Dalton Castle, Mount Sydal, Moose, and Jay Briscoe. Matt, I enjoyed this match. This match was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a solid main event. I mean, it's a good main event. You always expect that of Ring of Honor. I mean, when you turn on a Ring of Honor show, you're going to get some good wrestling, and it's really, you really expect nothing less from them at this point.
In the match, there was kind of a little feud in between the match there. I'd like to see a program with Moose and Jay Briscoe after seeing them go at it in this match. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I fully expected Moose to come out of this one the winner, but Dalton Castle, he got his boys back, and so now he is on a roll as he wins the Four Corners match. And so pretty good little Ring of Honor show. It's pretty fun. This week in pro wrestling, 1993 was the premiere edition of Monday Night Raw from the Manhattan Center in New York City. I love how on Raw they mentioned this and said the main event was Undertaker was in the main event, but they didn't even mention who he was against.
Why would you?
I know.
Nobody cares
when you
about
go back
Damien Demento.
When you go back and look at that card, it was like, wow, this is bad. And also in 1993, in a match taped for WCW Saturday Night, Dustin Rhodes defeated NWA and WCW World Tag Team Champion Ricky Steamboat by countout after Barry Windham DDT'd Steamboat to the floor. As a result, Rhodes won the vacant NWA WCW United States titles. And those were vacated when Rick Rude was injured back in December. So it's pretty crazy to see Dustin Rhodes winning a title in 1993 and then still performing at a high level 23 years later. This week in 2001, Eric Bischoff and Fusient Media Ventures announced their intent to acquire WCW from AOL Time Warner. How'd that work out?
Yeah.
This week in 2010, one of the cooler moments in the guest host history of Raw, Mike Tyson was the guest host. In 2001, PW Insider broke the news that Ring of Honor is going to be parting ways with HDNet after 2 years of working together. And then later on that year, they were sold to Sinclair, which is who they are still with now.
Yeah, I think they got the good end of that deal.
Oh, yeah. HDNet was like such a weird channel, at least for me on Time Warner. I had to pay like an extra $6 to get a group of HD channels. This was back when HD was new, and they were like channels I didn't really give two shits about. And it's like, why would I pay for this? This week in 2013, WWE released Trent Beretta. He would go on to be a regular in Dragon Gate and, of course, New Japan. As Trent, with a question mark, as a joke that, of course, Zack Ryder often joked about, where's Trent? And
the person most happy that Rocky Romero signed a new 2-year deal with New Japan.
Roppongi Vice has grown on me. I wasn't a fan at first when I first started watching Ring of Honor almost a year ago, but Roppongi Vice has definitely grown on me lately. A couple of happies for you. This week in 1970, Marcus Bagwell was born, and in 1972, Brian Lawler was born. 1985, Mr. Pogo defeats Harley Race to win the NWA Central States Heavyweight title in Kansas City. How in the hell does a guy named Mr. Pogo defeat Harley Race?
Bad booking?
I guess. NWA Central States. I don't know who was booking that territory then.
Probably a moron.
Vince. We'll just say Vince. Mr. Pogo, pal. Hey, that's alliteration there, pal. And, of course, if WWE had its first Raw in 1993 this week, they had their first anniversary in 1994, and that aired in the Richmond Coliseum. And big news, probably the biggest news to turn the tide for the WWE in the Monday Night Wars. This week in 1998, Mike Tyson and the WWF agreed to a deal for Tyson to appear at WrestleMania as the special enforcer. 1999, ECW holds its first ever Guilty as Charged pay-per-view before 2,600 fans in Kissimmee, Florida. Taz defeated ECW World Heavyweight Champion Shane Douglas by knockout to win the title, ending Douglas's fourth reign. This was the longest reign in ECW history by Shane Douglas, who actually holds the two longest reigns. This one where Taz beat him, he had a reign of 406 days, and then in 5 years before that, Douglas had a 385-day reign with the title. 2000, a definite sign that WCW was in a hell of a lot of trouble. The Monday Night Wars were dominated by WWE as they had a 6.8 rating compared to only a 3.5 with Nitro. As everyone got tired of the same old guys, right, Matt?
A little bit.
This week in 2007, did you ever watch Arm & Famous? I heard it was a completely shitty show, but Trish Stratus was on there at least.
I don't think I ever saw it.
It was a show of celebrities training to be police officers in Indiana. And yeah, I think Trish Stratus was probably the only highlight of the show because it only lasted a few episodes before it got shit canned. This week in 2008, NBC picked up American Gladiators for another season. This is a revived series by Hulk Hogan. I loved the reboot, and I kind of wish it was around a little longer, but we got introduced to Gina Carano that way, though. And the Blueprint, Matt Morgan was also a gladiator, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, they both were. You're right.
Yeah, Gina Carano. Woo. 2011, Shawn Michaels announced as the first member of the 2011 WWE Hall of Fame class. This week in 1962, ladies wrestling great Luna Vachon was born. In 2001, ACW holds its next to last event in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. This is where the ECW World Heavyweight and Television Champion Rhino pinned the Sandman to retain the titles. In 2009, Bill Watts would be announced to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Bill Watts, a mega promoter in the South, before Vince bought everybody out. This week in 2015, of course, it's Hall of Fame time, and this is when WWE finally announced that two-time WWF champion Randy Savage would be inducted into the Hall of Fame. In 1993, WCW holds its 22nd ever Clash of the Champions event in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the show aired live on TBS, and this would be notable because it was the last Clash for Jim Ross, as he would soon leave for the WWF to become the greatest fucking announcer of all time. And in 2001, this week, ECW held its final event in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Some of the matches for the final ever ECW show include Super Crazy against Tajiri, Danny Doring and Tommy Dreamer taking on the FBI, Rhino taking on Spike Dudley for the heavyweight title, Justin Credible against Sandman, and then in the end, the entire locker room came out to the ring, and Dreamer got on the mic, thanked the fans for their support, and Sandman with a beer toast for the crowd to end ECW, which was flopping like a fish. But ECW, man, some great times. Did you get into them as they were kind of in their heyday, like the TNN days and stuff?
Yeah, I watched them during the TNN era. Yeah, I watched.
Did you get into the pay-per-views and stuff too, or were
no?
No. It's kind of cool to go back and just to see the rawness of it, and the energy of the crowd is always fun to. And thank God for the WWE Network for that. And finally, WWE in this week, last year, 2015, main event was pulled off the WWE Network, and nobody missed it. Except for Brad Ward, because you said he's the only one you know that watches it, right?
Yep.
Couple of things to wrap up the show. Percent chance and burning questions. Matt, let's start off with percent chance. I'm going to give you a few WWE superstars, and I want to give you... you give me their percent chance to win the Royal Rumble. First off, we're going to start with, how about Dean Ambrose?
0.
0.0. How about Roman Reigns?
98.
98. AJ Styles?
0.
We talked about this guy a little earlier. Big E?
0.
Bray Wyatt?
0.
I sense a pattern here. Daniel Bryan?
0.
Ooh. No faith in Vince, huh? Dolph Ziggler?
0.
Sheamus?
0.
Undertaker?
0.
Triple H?
95%.
Brock Lesnar?
99%.
There you go. So, three guys with only 3 guys with a shot to win it. How about Kevin Owens?
10% chance at best, and I'm being generous there.
So you think it's set that the WWE is going to go with the Reigns Triple H feud and their biggest attraction,
or Reigns and Brock? It's going to be one of the three. I don't see anybody else leaving there with the title.
Would you be happy though if something wild and crazy happened, or would you rather it have these big horses in it?
I don't know, dude. I really don't.
I mean, New Day's obviously over, but I don't think Vince has. I mean, they haven't won a secondary singles title yet, so it would be fun. And obviously, we thought maybe Kofi could win Money in the Bank.
Dude, on the road to WrestleMania, nobody that is not considered a main event talent and Vince McMahon's eyes is going to win the WWE Championship. Period. And there's no reason to really think about anybody else other than the top guys.
All right, finally, we're going to end the show tonight with burning questions. More Rumble talk is the theme here, Matt. I had this question written before it was announced. My original question was with the intensity of the Owens and Ambrose feud, should a stipulation be added? Sure enough, we found out that Last Man Standing is the stipulation for the match at the Royal Rumble. And you said you were happy with that, as it's a good way to end the feud, right?
Yep.
With Vince McMahon giving favor to whoever throws Roman Reigns out, if Roman Reigns is not coming out of there as the champion, would you like the idea of Vince presenting that person with a Money in the Bank briefcase or some kind of favor?
No.
For knocking Roman Reigns out of the Rumble?
No.
Kind of like a bounty?
No.
AJ Styles seems like a lock for the Royal Rumble. How would you book him in this match?
I don't put AJ Styles in this match. At all.
Really?
If you're bringing him in, I don't put him in the Rumble. I don't bring someone in like AJ Styles to be thrown over the top rope and that's how he debuts. No. If I'm bringing in AJ Styles, I'm not burning him out in the Rumble.
What if he is in the Rumble? What would be a good way to introduce him, at least? Maybe have him throw a couple big names out and make it to the Final Four?
Have him come out at number 2 and have him go the distance to close to the end. But they're not going to do that, so I don't put him in at all.
Is Lesnar best for business at number 30, or have him go towards the middle to kind of clean house of jobbers, just have him throw people over the top rope, maybe into the first row or something, and have a little more lengthier go at it in the Rumble?
In my opinion, Reigns is 1, Lesnar's 30.
Okay. Notice how the Wyatts didn't get involved in the melee at the end of Raw. Is this a sign of them turning face and maybe going against the Authority sometime this year?
Yeah, I didn't really think anything of it, and I don't think WWE did either.
It was just coincidence, and
pretty much.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Lost in the Midcard as we head our way into the Royal Rumble, which should be a hell of a lot of fun. I cannot wait for it. It's always it's probably my favorite pay-per-view of the year, next to WrestleMania, just because of the Rumble match itself. And as always, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for enabling us to be on iTunes and being our host. And you can find us on iTunes or any of your favorite podcasting apps. All you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard and subscribe to us for every show. And you'll know when a new one hits every Thursday and every Monday after the pay-per-view. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube as well, and you can get those links at our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard. As we wrap up this show tonight, Matt, any final thoughts?
Not really.
Not really. Well, hopefully we get ourselves a little bit of a kickstart on our road to the Royal Rumble, because definitely want the product to be in good hands as we head onto the road to WrestleMania, especially with all the injuries that are occurring right now. For Matt, this is Jeremy. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Lost in the Midcard. Have yourself a good week.